Now,
okay, so yeah, I move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 on behalf of People for Profit. And this relates to the title of the bill and essentially setting out what the purposes of the bill are and of the Land Development Agency. So in some ways it's a summary that the amendments in this group are a summary of many of the problems we have with the government's plan for the LDA, of what it is, what it should do. So I'll try and summarise them fairly briefly, but they occur in the broad context that whereas the LDA, in our opinion, should be an agency that assembles land, and in particular tries to assemble land that it might be hoarded or speculated on by private owners, by private developers, by land speculators, or property that is being sat on that could be used and is suitable for the housing we need to address the dire housing crisis we have. That's what the Land Development Agency should be, and its sole purpose should be to try and assemble that land and land that may be in the hands of other state agencies to deliver public and affordable housing. The failure to do so, which is at the bottom of the dire housing and homelessness crisis. Instead of all that, what would be a good idea, our view is that the Land Development Agency, as set out in this bill, will rather be a means through which private finance, private developers, private property investment entities and so on will gain access to the entire public land bank. And the public land bank, which should be used to deliver public and affordable housing, will instead be used to make profit for some of those interests, and that in turn will affect the ability of the government to actually use the public land bank to deliver the scale of public housing we need and the amount of affordable housing we need, and to ensure that it is genuinely affordable rather than the price being set by the private developers or private financial interests who may now gain access to the public land bank. And of course, in the title, in the existing bill, there's references to the DACs, the designated activity companies. So the manner in which this bill will allow the public land bank to be parcelled up into companies which will be taken out of local authority control, in effect controlling the land bank and dictating what is done with the public land bank. There's references also in the government's title to market price in terms of the delivering of affordable housing. The Minister has now changed that. I see him shaking. He has changed that and instead referred it to the Affordable Housing Bill. But of course, when you cross-check the new wording that the Minister has inserted in his amendment with the Affordable Housing Bill, what you find is the Affordable Housing Bill doesn't actually set out in any clear terms how it will be guaranteed that the public land bank is used to deliver actually affordable housing, genuinely affordable housing, because it will all be prescribed by the Minister. And where there are again references to the market. And that is the fundamental problem. So we seek in these amendments, I'll just skip through them very quickly, to ensure that the LDA is only about the provision of public and affordable housing. That the public housing will be, the affordable housing will be affordable in perpetuity. It will always remain affordable. And we'll explain later how that should be done, but essentially meaning that if it's sold, it won't be sold onto the market and marketised, won't be sold back to local authorities, that the proportion of affordable and public housing will be decided by the local authorities, that there will be public consultation on that, that the land will not be parcelled up into designated activity companies, but will remain in the hands hands of the local authorities. Our amendments rule out the use of public-private partnerships. In other words, will rule out and protect the public land bank from the invasion of private investment funds, private speculators, and so on, who will drive up the price, in our opinion, of the affordable housing, will privatise potentially significant parts of the public land bank, and indeed make it almost certain that much of the supposedly affordable housing is in fact unaffordable. And of course, the Minister infamously has talked about affordable housing in certain parts of the country, Dublin notably, reaching up to ceilings of €450,000 or 400,000 in other areas, or 350,000 in other areas, which is not affordable at all for the vast majority of people. So we do not want the private finance or private investors to have anything whatsoever to do with the setting of the amount of public and affordable housing, or the price of the affordable housing, or the rents in the cost rental housing. And we want stripped out of the bill any references whatsoever in either of these bills to benchmarking affordability against market conditions or the diktats of private finance. So that is the summary of the first 12 of, I think, 63 amendments or so we have to this bill. But the broad thrust is very, very simple. Keep the public land bank public. Use the public land bank to deliver public and genuinely affordable housing, and no privatisation whatsoever of the public land bank, as we believe the government's bill will facilitate in its current form.